Hello, hello.
Are you driving?
No. I don't know who said that just now. Who was that?
That was Melanie.
Oh.
No, I meant not are you I meant like are you going from Chicago to somewhere on a
No,
trip?
I am in Chicago going from one part of the town to the other part of the town. Today has been a very interesting day. I will say that. So we all have them. And so I have been listening to I've been on all of my Zoom calls with the region and international and everybody mobily. And now we're going to do this, and I'm going to do my very best. We'll see. I brought my notebook. I have everything with me. So we'll see how this goes.
All right.
We'll see how this goes. Okay. So we are going to get rolling. And I think I just saw Kayla come in, maybe. Nope, she went back out. Somebody to manage the waiting room. But we're just going to get rolling. So some of these, the classes, Zooms, whatever you would like to call them, meetings that I had last week were amazing. And, or I guess over the last 2 weeks. And so last week, we got to talk to Diana Kokoska. I'm so sorry, you all. I don't have a place to, normally I have somewhere to prop my phone, so I'm trying to hold my phone and hold my notebook and hold my pen. So just bear with me. Again, it has been if I had the poop emoji and I could do it on my phone right now, I would just have that little poop emoji rolling around on my screen. I don't know if anybody else has had a day like that recently, but I definitely have. Let me try it over here. Thanks, Cookie. So bear with me for just a second. I am gonna, Morgan has this cool little tool. Oh, look at that. We're cooking with grease, people. We're cooking with grease. Okay. So she was talking about several different, a lot about energy, a lot about what we're going through right now. And she said, when you're alone and crazy in your head, how do you reset? And she said, number one, you have to embrace the emotions that you have. And I think for me, that may be one of the hardest things is because you have your natural emotion that you're going through, and then you have the emotion that you think you should have, right? Or the emotion that you think everyone else should see or that you think is acceptable. So number one, you have to embrace the emotions you have. Number two, you have to accept your feelings and not dwell on the past. And it was very interesting. I got to talk to several folks on Friday, and I think with the governor extending things a little bit, I think that was a little disappointing for some people and maybe a little scary for others. And there's just a lot of uncertainty going on right now. So I think that being in tune with what your feelings are and not dwelling on where we were, how things were, that type of thing, right? That we instead focus on more of what we can control and what we can do right now. And then the third thing was know that you're valuable. Do some soul searching. And, you know, we talked about this a while back in group coaching, and it was all about what your value proposition was. And it was about coming up with, and several of you all gave yours to me. You wrote those down. Who remembers doing that? Does anybody remember doing that?
I do. It's Melanie. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, good. And Kayla's on here, so I can ignore the waiting room now, Kayla. Can I ignore that and you take care of those?
If you make me a co-host, then I can.
Okay, never mind, because I got way too much going on, so I will figure it out. So knowing what your value proposition is and being in tune with that is huge. So we've been talking about this a lot on a market center level. And so today I am going to need for you all to unmute yourselves and interact, because I have some questions for you, and I have some feedback that I need to get from you. So one of the things that she said is, because we're never done, we'll have things that won't go our way. And for those of you who don't know me very well, I don't like it when things don't go my way. And I don't know how many of you all, but I have a feeling most of you all are riding in that same boat that I'm in. But we just don't like it when things don't necessarily go our way. And she said, you're either in a spiral down or you're pulling yourself up. And I'm definitely more of a pull myself up kind of person. And it gets exhausting sometimes. And that's just a real thing, you know. And so there's times where you just have to figure out, okay, I definitely have to keep pulling myself up, but what do I have to do to make sure I'm moving forward and I'm not just in this exhausting. She says good things come out of bad things only if you have the right perspective. So if we look at what's going on right now as a bad thing, and we look at this as things slowing down, or maybe we don't have as much business or whatever, if we want to see it as a bad thing, then we need to figure out what our perspective is going to be on it. What do we hope to get out of this? Who do we hope to be when this is all over? What do we want our businesses to look like? And then she says you can complain or you can contribute. Change is the only constant that we ever have right now. We aren't in charge. We're in transformation. And that was huge for me because of some of the things that we've been talking about. So as we're telling you all to pivot and change your businesses and how things work, I have had some grand ideas. So if anybody sees Brian or comes here, give him a little air hug, because it's been a lot lately of me and my great ideas. And I've run these by a few people, but I would love to know. So here's the question that I posed to our leadership team. I said, if we were to take away the market center, period, this is not happening. Let me be crystal clear. Okay, I'm giving a hypothetical. We were to just take the building away and say, okay, we are Keller Williams Capital Partners. What is our value proposition? Okay, there's not the energy, there's not sweet Kayla when you walk in the front door. The hand-holding component isn't there quite so much. If that's not there, right? And Keller Williams, whoever it is, whatever it is, if that's not there, what is the value proposition that you expect to get from you're an agent and you no longer have a place that you physically go into? What do you want? What is it that you want to see from your company? What becomes the new value? I have paper, so as soon as you all say things, I will write them down. Anyone?
Education.
Say again?
Accessible education.
Accessible education. Meaning?
Like these Zoom calls and other training opportunities.
Okay. And what we're doing is, as we have these classes, so we do Talk About It Tuesday, Zoom, group coaching, what have you, we're putting all of these on the YouTube channel. So if you could, Kayla, will you put a link to the YouTube channel up on our Facebook page, just so everybody can access that? Thank you. That way, you all can go back and watch these whenever you like. What else?
I would say, this is an old saying, but it holds true, all for one and one for all, that anyone can reach out to anybody for some help and assistance, and anyone who's reached out to will give that agent the help and assistance they need to the best of their ability. You know, so many companies, the agents won't help you at all. We're not competition here. We're to help each other.
So everybody helping. Thank you for that. What else?
I think even brick and mortar portion of it, you got to maintain a sense of community and the culture that Keller Williams puts out there. And I think we've seen a lot of that over the last months through these calls when we've had up to 55 people. It's kind of nice to know we're all still in this together. So if you didn't have to go to the office, get to go to the office, that could still be there in some fashion.
Yeah, good. And that has been. I feel like everybody really has come together. It's been nice to have when I know I get sick of Zoom calls, so I know you all are sick of them. But it's really nice that people take their time to take a break, get here, get on. I mean, we all can't look as pretty as Bree, but you all jump on the meeting and do what you can do, right? But what else? Let's just be. I want you all to be super candid. This is a safe place, and I'm asking your opinion because I really want it. So when you are somewhere and you are paying $20,000 a year to be there, what do you want that company to do for you?
This is Melanie. I think for me, I've just been through a weekend with out-of-town buyers, and just the whole DocuSign thing, and working on 4 different contracts to try to get them into one house. And I had questions, and I put something out on Facebook, and there was Kayla, sweet thing. She rose to the occasion and got me what I needed, so I didn't feel like I was alone out there in this. I mean, part of me just wanted to go, screw it, I'm going back to .Luke and get this done, but I didn't do it. And she really helped a lot. And Kayla, I have more questions for you, but that's for another day. But anyways, now they're in contract as of 2 hours ago, and I'm thrilled. But, that sense of there is somebody listening out there and who is responding, which is fantastic.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, what else? He said he was. Nothing? Y'all are easy. Who's sharing their screen right now?
Whoops, that's me, my mistake.
Well, no, you're okay, but I don't even know how it's allowing you to do that. Obviously, when they started all of the security stuff a couple of weeks ago, all the settings for Zoom changed, and I haven't been the same since. I feel like nothing has been right. So,
Nancy,
yeah,
I think that's your screen.
Yeah, I was trying to say something. I wanted to share about, I think that, can everybody hear me? It's the leadership, coming from the top down. I really think so highly of the leadership of this particular office, that they're clear and they're, approachable. And I feel like they really care about the agents as a whole in the office and how our productivity is, and that they provide all the resources that we need to be successful. So
thank you for that. We do, and that's another reason for having sessions like these. Is I understand that we are in the middle of a huge change, and that everything is evolving and changing, and I don't know that anything is ever going to go back to quote unquote the way it was before all of this started. And I want us to be insightful enough and to have enough foresight of what do we need to do to up our game, so that you all can operate a little differently. And they do. That's the thing. I think that was one of the biggest attractors for me with this entire, not only leadership group, but investor group, is that it's full of people that genuinely care, that not only want to help the other people around them, but they also want to be a part of it. It's not just a matter of, great ideas and, pointing fingers and, hey, why don't you? It's just a phenomenal group. So there's a lot of big hearts. What else? Something you want. You wish your office did what? Come on. There has to be
I would like to see more peer mentoring in the market center. So maybe broken down into cluster by production or levels of production so that there could be more exchange between the agents and what we're doing to help each other grow to get to the next level.
Love it. And how many people do you think should be in those groups?
I think they should be small cluster groups of like maybe 10 to 15 at most, just so that people can have a chance to talk and it's a little bit more intimate versus just a big setting.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts on that?
Yes, it's Melanie. I think that's a great idea, and I think it should even be smaller than that, like 5, 6 people. Because then you really get that, you know, more of a one-on-one and everybody interacting.
Okay. And so when you all talk about that, let's just say we're putting these mentor groups together. Do you expect there to be one person that's kind of leading the group? Is it a true peer mentorship where everyone in there is sharing and helping everyone? How do you all see that?
I mean, since you have the designation of coaching, I think you should have maybe like a moderator role where topic matter should be presented and then everyone comes with material to contribute to the group and kind of break it down into people having a certain timeline in terms of when they can speak, just so that you don't overdo it. And then people can also do question and answers and have at least some type of dialogue in the middle of it.
Okay. I love it. What else? Any other ideas around that?
Yeah, the idea that maybe the group is actually structured in a way where you have seasoned agents, agents that have been maybe, you know, middle of the road, 5, 6 years, and new ones, so that there really is not only a perspective from how long you've been in the business, but it could also be, you know, from different ages, how you see things, and so that everybody kind of brings their perspective to the group.
Okay. What else? My daughter went in the house and and I'm in the car still, obviously. And she let the dogs out and they know I'm in the car and they're now like clawing at the side of the car and she's freaking out. It's like dog paws. So what else? We have mentoring groups, accessible education, having things on Zoom, knowing someone's out there to help and listen. What else? If we're talking about moving your business forward, think about right now, if you were to get some things done in your business, what are some of the things that you would have to pay someone else to do? What are some things you think as an office?
How about an
that
office
will
courier?
do what?
How about an office courier?
Okay. An
And
office.
somebody could put up signs and put lock boxes on for it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind paying for it. I
Correct.
just don't like doing it myself.
Right. Well, or just
It's fun.
having someone on staff all the time that you have to pay consistently, right? Yeah. I was talking to the lady who's listing the house, and I said I would be more than happy to meet you somewhere. She was going to put out a coming soon sign, and she said, "Oh no, my office puts the signs up for us. They'll bring it out and put it up. I don't have to worry about it." I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's the thing. So just think, those are the kinds of things I want you to just think of. What are some things that when we come out of this, I want to use this opportunity to push us ahead, right? I want you all to get away from the minutia, just all of those little things that that hold you up or make you overthink or that you dwell on and don't move forward. Let's get it going. You're getting there.
We could stock sign writers that are available for people to purchase. We could have a photographer that is available for people to have access to. I'm not saying at no cost, but make things simpler.
An in-house marketing department, essentially, kind of a one-stop shop rather than having to go into outsource printing companies, third parties like title companies who have to coordinate all of it. It's just all in-house.
When you talk about title companies, are you talking about like a transaction coordinator?
Well, the title company is more of just the third party affiliate that coordinates all of it. But like when I order postcards, it goes through my title company, which then will go to the print company and they send me the things. Like eliminate all of the minutia and just basically one direct contact. You send what you need. They have it for you. It's in office. Boom.
Lauren really likes that idea too.
Lauren said, I'm writing that down here. Lauren said. Now, let's say that we were to have a marketing person. Let's just say we're going to go out, we're going to hire a full-time person, right? And knowing where profitability is and knowing that it's probably going to go down a little bit, right? Like we're just being honest. How would you all feel about adding a transaction fee?
Well, why wouldn't you just charge, we have a marketing person to do this, and I want them to do X, and the cost is Y, and I just pay for it. It's just.
Well, that sounds great. That sounds great. But to get a person that's skilled enough, that knows what they're going to do, you're going to have to bring someone in and pay them a full-time salary to do that. So let's just say that in order to pay that person for the month, I have to know that 100 marketing pieces are ordered. And if that month only 50 are ordered, do you see where I'm going with that?
Well,
So to ensure that there's always profitability and that we aren't going in the hole paying for that person, that's my question. How do you all feel about transaction fees?
I don't think that's a win-win for the person who says, I'm not going to use it. I think if you go out there and say, we've got this, are you going to use it? And you say yes, then you've got a transaction fee. And if Bill Benninghoff says, no, I'm not going to use it, why should Bill pay a transaction fee for a service he's not going to use?
Well, it wouldn't be a transaction. It would be overall across the office. The whole office, we're switching the model up a little bit. We're thinking, again, I'm talking out loud. None of this is happening, okay? This is all an idea that we're all putting out there and discussing. So it would be across the board. It wouldn't be only certain agents pay the transaction fee. Everyone would be paying the transaction fee, because if we were to do something like that, there would be lots of services that would be coming on board, okay? The other piece of that would be is if the office was charging a transaction fee of X, the agent would have the opportunity to say, well, I'm going to double that. I'm going to charge the transaction fee, and instead of X, I'm going to charge X times 2. And then the agent keeps whatever piece they want to keep, and then the other part goes to the office. Just think it out loud. I need your all's thoughts.
I am I'm kind of opposed to transaction fees. I've gone up against a lot of realtors. There's a lot of realtors that charge them. I've won many times because I don't charge one. And it's ridiculous that a little $200 fee would stop somebody from listing their house with somebody else. But I just am, but I'm old school, so I'm open though to ideas. But for me personally, I would not charge my clients for that.
Okay. Yeah, we would this is what I'm throwing out there. So what are other ideas? What are some other ways? Because we cannot say we're going to hire a person and we would pay you a full-time salary, and every agent in our office, as Pinky swore, they would use you, because would anyone like to say, Coretta could tell me, would anyone like to say what will happen if we tell someone we're going to pay you a full-time salary and we promise you all the agents are going to use you? So don't worry, we're never going to fall short 1 month. Nobody? Is everybody muted?
In order for that to happen, if it wasn't going to go the transaction fee, the only other way, I think, in order to solidify the income is that it's a non-refundable and it's tacked on to your office bill. So you have to pay it essentially if you are going to subscribe to the services, and you're locked in for X amount under a contract, whether it be 6 months. So at least there's some way to get out of it. So that maybe if people are slower in the wintertime, then for spring, summer market, they can hook into it, be charged for it, and it can guarantee that income.
Okay. What do you all think about that?
What I wonder if this is an opportunity to learn what other companies do that have these marketing departments and how the agents pay for it. Because I know Coldwell Banker has one. I think HER does. And if they use their services, how are those paid for? I mean, maybe learn how other people are doing it.
Yeah, we've been doing research on all of this now for about 3 months. And overall, 90% of them are transaction fees. But the other ones they're not a capping model. And so it doesn't matter to them because they're going to get their money one way or the other. But I want to know what your all's ideas are. What are your all's thoughts on that? We've got a subscription type service.
I think it needs to be a transaction fee or something tacked on to the production level, because versus charging out of the office bill. I mean, someone that does 10 transactions a year versus someone that does, 50, they're going to be using using the service more.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a good point.
Kim, I'm seeing this comment that no transaction fees was one of the top reasons he came back to Keller Williams. I spent a year at Coldwell Banker before going to RE/MAX before we opened this brokerage, and Coldwell Banker used a certain title company, I got paid more quickly. If I used a certain lender, such happened, and I could not stand it. And that's always been one of the things that I thought was so important, is that our agents have some autonomy to use who they want, and that we're not shoving the vendors down their throats. So if we get in any position where we're forcing people to use somebody or do something, I think that creates an issue for us.
Okay. Now, who are you talking about forcing them to use?
If there's any kind of contract or mandated, I guess you have to have the option to say, I don't care to use that marketing service you're providing because I do it myself, or my brother, I'm committed to my company I've always used. I think they need to have that flexibility. And I think you have a lot of people that I would agree with Sue on the transaction fee. I don't know that I've ever gotten a listing because I don't have one, but I've never felt like I would want that to be part of my model.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Eric. I think one of the benefits, or one of the reasons I like Keller Williams, is because we have our own businesses within a business. Right. And we have flexibility, and we have the ability to allocate a certain amount of funds more than other agents toward marketing or whatever that decides to be. And so I think I'm not opposed to it. I just want to be able to have the option if I want to contribute to it or not.
Okay.
Kim, could there be a third-party marketing company or service that we actively build a relationship with to say, we're going to create a pipeline for you whereby we can provide some consistent business from a people, and the more you can show value, the more you're going to get from it. And so we almost, rather than hiring that person, we build a really strong relationship that we think can cover all those pieces, photography and print, and maybe even courier and sign and all stuff. And then I guess it's a preferred vendor, but we create value there by saying, we're going to drop you, and if you can help these people be successful, they're going to tell everybody else, and they're going to want to come use you.
Yeah, no, I love that. Definitely. That's exactly why we're having this conversation, is to figure out, when you're talking about value, and I want you all to do the same thing in your businesses, right? It's like, okay, I've done it this way for so long, and I've been comfortable with it this way for so long. But what do I need to be doing differently, right? Or if there's a different angle for me to maybe take a look at this, what would that be? So it's figuring out what changes you need to make or should make or could make, where the benefit is going to be in that, and then what do you need to do to actually make that happen? So what else? If we're talking about an in-house photographer, in-house marketing person, is there something else?
In-house courier.
Courier and sign person. Thank you. Yes.
What about
So-
transaction coordinator?
Okay, transaction coordinator.
As far as the transaction coordinator, don't a lot of our agents still use Monique?
I don't know the answer to that.
No, I don't even know who that is.
Is anybody using Monique? I thought she was still working with a lot of agents in our office.
I think she is.
Yeah, she works with about 12 of our agents in one of our teams.
So
Melanie, I can give you her info when you call me about DocuSign.
yeah, so that's we actually have that service available, and I don't think we've actually really promoted it that well, because Monique is fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
So
well,
before you hire an administrative assistant, you know, I'd look towards Monique, because the ones that use her in our office, I know rave about her, and she's on top of things, and she knows our systems well.
nice.
You might want to look.
Okay, so that leads to another thing. So let's just say you do have all these great things. What is your all's expectation for how you know about it? Because I don't know how many people are on here with us right now. It's a little bit different on my phone.
23.
23. And I didn't know about Monique, and I'm assuming that maybe 20 other people didn't either. So if there's a service that we have that we can offer, how do you all want to know about it? How do you want to be communicated with? Let's just say today, like in this current environment. So don't say post things up in the market center or whatever, because let's pretend like you're not going to be there. How do you want to know about it?
I found out about Monique through the title company, Northwest, and both Darcy and Renee are using her. I have not. I've done my own so far. They love her. They rave about her. But we found out through a third-party vendor as to who she was, and we picked her card up in the resource room. So I know her cards are back there. I just don't think everybody knows that they're there by the mailboxes.
Okay.
And I think there, in an onboarding kind of way, there should be a resource sheet that says this is where a majority of people order signs. This is the transaction coordinator. These are resources for postcards and marketing pieces. And I'm sure the information is out there. It just was not, you're drinking from a fire hose when you come in as a new person, and you have no clue where, any of this stuff can be found. And Kayla's an amazing person, an amazing resource person. So maybe something, we could come up with some sort of like small manual. I don't know.
Okay.
Just a thought.
No, I love that.
You know, to Lisa's point there, we need to be sensitive to the fact that one of the things Coldwell Banker and HER do well is make their agents feel like they need to stay there, because a lot of these resources are provided and it's easy, and even though maybe cost more, they don't have to think about it. And
Right.
so we need to be, I don't think that way because I've been out of that environment for 20 years. So it's not, I like to make my own decisions and that sort of thing, but we got to be sensitive to them coming on board, not having to figure everything out.
No, that's exactly what I think. It just goes back to the point of, I don't think agents so much care about spending the money or paying for the service. It's the The convenience. It's the convenience of having it. It's the security of knowing it's there if you need it. Anything else you all can think of? Because I do. I want to see this as is exactly what she said. When you're in the middle of a crisis or in the middle of something bad, something good can come out of it. And so I want to figure out what can we do to come out of this on the other side of being able to help you all more and support you more and help you move forward.
Kim, regarding the technology person that you're thinking of hiring here, another agent and I, basically we have consulted with an IT company, and outside of command, they come to us with just different innovative ideas in terms of things that in the real estate field maybe are working in other atmospheres, but not necessarily in Columbus, Ohio. So just innovative ideas that we should be doing to kind of be the front runners or trendsetters, I guess. And some of them are expensive and they're outrageous and they're just not necessarily what I would want to do, but at least an innovative person that's in the field of something specialized that could actually bring the thoughts to us rather than us taking time out of our day to come up with that.
For sure.
And to go back to Karen's point, I was thinking in regards to obviously the fair or unfair, whatever you want to call it, pay structure of the person. I think as we've done things when we break down by production for Realtor.com and some of those other things, it should be based off of production. So you can scale to the certain individual or agent what grade they would qualify for based off their production level. And that way you have some type of guarantee in terms of what those numbers are once they commit to it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. It's just how you're going to charge each person, basically.
Yeah, I mean, based off their volume, projection volume, basically, maybe you can even pull the prior year. And again, you only lock them into a certain amount of time. It doesn't have to be a full year. And you just guarantee that type of income.
Okay. Anything else? I mean, this is the season. This is the time. If you're gonna reinvent, you're gonna figure out, okay, I'm gonna change up my business a little bit. And this is something that I would need to help support me in that. What is it? And if you can't think of it today, that's fine. But as you come up with these things, just text me, shoot me a text, call me. Anything that you come up with and think of. There's nothing that's irrelevant or dumb. Or I think that we just have to get we have to get innovative right now. I do want to make sure that we're the ones that are coming out ahead and that we are the ones that stay on top. And I want us to be able to support you on that. So when you think of things and something that comes to mind, please don't hesitate to share it, call me, let's brainstorm it, talk through it, whatever it is that you need to do to feel brave enough to share. Is it that it's hard to think of things, or is it that there's other people on here and you don't want to say it out loud?
Kim, you talk about when we come out from the other side, but I know there's a dozen of us here. We're just slammed. We're as busy as normally be. So I don't care about the other side. I care about today. What can I do today to keep my business moving forward? And I know maybe that's the minority of the agents in the market center, but I'm not.
No, but I also think that businesses are going to look a little bit different after all of this. I mean, I'm not talking about your volume or that you're closing or not closing. I'm talking about the expectation of the consumer of what things need to look like in the future. And it'll be the same way with agents. We'll have some agents that won't come into the office every day. There are some people that aren't ever going to go back to normal or whatever we were doing before, right? So it's figuring out what that is going to look like is what I'm talking about.
So is there a way to automatically, let's say that I used World Class Title, and I know Northwest automatically deposits access to the broker account. Is there a way that could possibly be that they could wire the money on the day of closing to the brokerage account? I know it's a little out there, but since a lot of these closings now are not happening as together happening, they're doing them in cars and in front of houses. And if this is going to continue, maybe it's just easier to have the title company do a direct deposit.
Well, and that's something that they have talked about doing. And I think that wait, is Renee? No, Renee's transmitting. I was going to say if she's on here, because that has been a discussion. So I don't know if that's something that they're thinking about moving toward permanently, or if it was just like a little stepping stone for right now. But I do know that that is in the works.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Yeah, those are the little things, that just make life easier. You don't have to go pick up a check, or you don't have to, it's just like that one extra little thing.
Lisa, the other thing, what Keller Williams International does disbursement authorizations where the split is all figured out and a check goes to the agent at closing and another one goes to the brokerage and you walk away from closing with your check. We could never get the state of Ohio to okay that. So that's why we've never been able to do that. And that could have been for every title company.
Yeah, I think it used to be that way years ago. We were able to do that where you walked away with a check, but now it all has to go through the brokerage.
We tried to get that done.
And they just wouldn't do it ever?
State of Ohio Division of Real Estate, I think, was most of the Keller Williams and other states do that. You walk away from the closing with your check.
Okay. No, but that's a great, and so anything else like that you all could think of, please don't hesitate. Reach out and let us know. And I love this. It says, she said, you define who you are. Don't you dare let anyone else. And I love that. I love not fitting in a box. I love getting creative around how we can best support and help our people, that we get to define that, right? We as a group that collaborates and comes together, and we get to do that it's not some boxed plan, right, that comes to us. So also she wrapped up by saying great things are brought about by a series of small things brought together. And I love that. I love that. So I'm excited. I think that this summer is going to be bananas. I mean, I really do. And I got to talk to a few of you all on Friday, and when we are on the weekends, we're just like full-fledged projects around the house here. And when we go to Home Depot I guess a week ago Sunday, we pulled up in the parking lot, and I mean, there were 200 cars there. And so now my joke every day is, well, I guess we can say the good thing about COVID is it's really kind of up the ante on real estate, because people are doing home improvements more now than ever. So all these projects that people are putting off and doing now, they're going to do. And even on the international call today, they were talking about how even the consumers are saying, when they are just putting out there and polling people, they're saying that they think that their home values are going to increase by no less than 5% over this next year. So people are very optimistic, and people are out there still doing things. So I know that it's going to be a crazy summer, and I want to make sure that we as a leadership team are ready for it, and we can serve you all at the very highest level that we possibly can. And I'm excited about all of it. So any ahas or final statements from anybody? We all good? I know Zoom makes it a little harder than when we're sitting in a classroom and I can just like stare you down and pull all of you. So if there's anything you guys take away from this week, you define who you are. Don't you dare let anyone else. So now is the perfect time. If you're wanting to tweak your story, rewrite it, throw it away and start over, whatever you want to do, now's your time. You all have a great, great week. Get out there, sell some houses, pull yourselves up by the bootstraps and keep rolling. Have a good one, guys.